Your life, your responsibility. Know the school rules. School is a place for learning. All students are expected to obey school rules and school personnel, cooperate with school staff, and respect others and their property. It is important that you make good decisions to avoid facing the consequences of suspension, expulsion, or possible criminal prosecution. Greenville County Schools' Student Behavior Code sets clear guidelines for acceptable student behavior and outlines consequences for unacceptable student behavior. This video has been produced to help students and parents understand what is expected of students at school and school-sponsored events. The Student Behavior Code outlines misbehaviors that are not tolerated in school and during any school-sponsored activity, both on and off campus. Students who disrupt school or violate the rights of others face a range of disciplinary actions that may ultimately lead to suspension or expulsion. Students who cause discipline problems and require a more structured learning environment may be assigned to an alternative school where they are closely supervised. Suspension is the temporary removal of a student from school or class. Let's review the behaviors that may result in suspension from school. Using a cell phone during school hours. While board policy allows students to bring cell phones to school, the use of cell phones is restricted to before and after school. The only exception is the principal's approved use of cell phones for instructional purposes. If a student uses a cell phone in violation of this code, the principal will confiscate the phone and discipline the student. Profanity. Profane and vulgar expressions, whether they are oral, written, or nonverbal, and including those displayed on clothing, are forbidden on school property. Consequences may include suspension or expulsion. Sexual misconduct or harassment. Sexual activity of any kind is forbidden on school property. Consequences may include suspension or expulsion. Sexual harassment in the form of comments, threats, conversations, coercion, actions, jokes, teasing, or intimidation when they are of a sexual nature and are unwelcome are forbidden. If you believe you have been subjected to such behavior, you should immediately talk to the school principal, guidance counselor, or teacher. Consequences for sexual harassment or misconduct include counseling, parent notification, detention, suspension, or expulsion. Examples of behaviors that may result in suspension include disrespecting school staff, profanity, fighting, smoking, vandalism, bullying, harassment, disrupting school, misuse of district technology, or stealing. Expulsion. In most cases, expulsion means the removal of a student from school and the end of education services for the remainder of the school year. Students who are expelled are not allowed to come on school property or ride school buses. By law, expulsion for a full year is mandatory for a student who brings a firearm on campus. An expulsion recommendation is mandatory by board policy for possession of drugs, alcohol, or weapons, and consensual participation in sexual activity involving physical contact. A hearing officer considers principal's recommendations for expulsions and determines the appropriate consequence. The administration or the parent may appeal the hearing officer's decision to the school board. Hearings in discipline cases are closed. There are serious misbehaviors that result in an automatic recommendation for expulsion. Possession of any kind of weapon. This includes guns, razors, box openers, knives, or any other object that is possessed or used with the intention of inflicting bodily harm. Other expellable offenses include bomb threats and arson. Possession, sale or distribution of alcoholic beverages, illegal drugs and narcotics, and toxic and controlled substances on school property. Unauthorized possession of a controlled substance, prescription or over-the-counter medication, and any intoxicating inhalant. Parents must bring prescription drugs to the school nurse, who will dispense the drug to the student as instructed by the student's physician. The policy further states that any student who comes on school property after using any alcoholic beverage, illegal drug, controlled substance, or intoxicating inhalant is subject to expulsion. The evidence for such behavior can include scent, actions, or admission of use. threatening to inflict or inflicting any bodily harm, however slight, on any school employee. Ganging or participating as a member of a gang in inflicting bodily harm upon another person. A gang consists of two or more people acting together for the purpose of committing an act of violence on another person. Participation may include any act that interferes with a staff member from stopping threats or the infliction of bodily harm. The Board of Trustees has authority to permanently expel students. Generally, other school districts and private schools do not accept expelled students. In addition, students violating the Student Behavior Code by engaging in criminal offenses face possible prosecution. Students facing disciplinary action have certain rights. This includes, at a minimum, the right to know what they are accused of and the right to respond. Students also have the right to appeal decisions resulting in major disciplinary action, such as suspension from school or bus transportation, expulsion, or transfer to an alternative program. While the information communicated in this video is intended to inform students and parents about behavior and consequences, it is not a complete list of every offense and consequence. Copies of the Greenville County Schools Student Behavior Code, Policy JCDA, can be obtained at any school office or the central office, or by calling 864-355-3100. Students receive a copy of the Student Behavior Code in their handbook, and parents receive a copy in the Connected Newsletter for Parents at the beginning of the school year. Student Dress Code. Each school administration sets the standard for student dress based upon district dress code policy. Your school's dress code is distributed through your student handbook and by other means. Your life, your responsibility. Know the school rules.